Alright, chat, what's going on? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well. Alright, getting all set up. What do you call it? We got a big game tomorrow. So, wrapping up some terrain stuff here. As well as got some miniatures painted up, which I'll show you guys. Working on a video. It ended up, because I accidentally left my camera on it sometimes, it was like 80 gigabytes because it's in 4K, but painting, kit bashing and building / painting the George Washington miniature. So with that being said, we got a lot of stuff to do today. We got some sick terrain we're finishing up here, as well as some awesome trees that we did a couple on the end. I think the last stream it was, but the trees I'll show you. We'll do in the second half of the stream or something. We're gonna base the bottom of the trees. But that being said, I'll give you guys a little look here. You probably saw it on YouTube or Instagram. If you're not, check me out on Instagram, Mike Rolls Dice. But we got George Washington II. Still haven't figured out if he's the great-grandchild or, like, secretly a clone. Who knows? But we got George, and he's ready to rock. I think he came out really well. I painted it up for a video from start to finish. So we got the kit bash and the painting. So I'm going to do that. Try and edit that this weekend because it's not going to be a very long video, but explaining the made-up lore behind him. But I did like little highlighting here and there. A little bit of washes and stuff. So I think it came out good. And then the heavy infantry we finished up. So I still got to do like the mouths and stuff and maybe a little highlighting on the armor. I gave them power armor. Like glow. I don't know. It's not, technically they're not supposed to. I don't care. I like it. But you can see how the camo pattern's kind of like a modified marine helmet camo pattern I did on them. So I think they came out pretty good. So I got all the heavy infantry and I got George done. So that's for the new battle report tomorrow. And this is going to be our special leading up to Invasion America. So I'm very excited for it. Hey Fox, how's it going? I saw you guys have been covering some Pirate Borg stuff, which is awesome. I've used Pirate Borg as a supplement. I ran a Savage Worlds campaign to get all of my friends away from D&D because I love Savage Worlds. That's like my TTRPG that I love. And I use Pirate Borg as well as the Savage Worlds Pirate supplement or whatever. But Pirate Borg is sick. I would love to do Mork Borg Pirate Borg at some point. I would like to do TTRPG stuff. I've done it in the past with Savage Worlds. It wasn't as popular. But I think if maybe I did some like simple games and did some little cinematic narrative stuff, focusing on like, you know, fun TTRPG stuff in the future, I'd like to cover some stuff like that. But appreciate you tuning in. And thank you for the compliments on George and Boot Mountain. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm excited for George Washington II. So I'll show you what we got. Rev printed a bunch of stuff. I painted up this windmill. I still got to do some highlighting on the actual windmill. We have radar dishes. I just airbrushed these some different colors, and we have to paint these black and maybe do some... even just taking a pencil. I like using the pencil technique on metal nowadays. That's fun. But so we got radar dishes. We're going to start out with painting black. I finished most of the buildings. Just very simple little wood shacks and whatnot. We did these last stream. I'm tempted to do some airbrushing, but you know what? We're going to be putting bushes around them and all that. They look pretty good. Now these, we have to paint the signs. So I kind of wrote them out to test. I want to do like a gas station. And I forgot, I almost wrote gas station here, but maybe some sort of general store and like paint it by hand. Because we got these. These are American style buildings because the Japanese are making landfall in North America, as well as the Soviets, it looks like. Covering lots in the forbidden... is that... oh my god. How the hell do you pronounce that word? Is it Psalm? It's Psalm, right? The P is silent. Creator is doing a skirmish game for Pirate Borg. It's also its own standalone game. Oh, okay, very cool. Well, we just painted up a bunch of Blood and Plunder stuff. So we were also looking at... I watched a game of Blood and Plunder on Tabletop Command Post, and it was like... I was like, okay, like the land-based pirate combat and stuff looks like pretty simple enough. But it's the damn, like, ship combat looks so complicated. I'm like, oh my god. So me and Rev were talking about, like, even if we just use all the... it was like $90. You got 2 ships, 24 pirates, and a bunch of, like, pirate captains and British officers or something. So even if we use that for other games. So that might be cool, checking out some sort of pirate skirmish game. We could use something like that, you know what I mean? Alright. Unfortunately... I think probably one of the best videos I did recently, the Gaslands Battle Report we put out like 2 days ago. It got like 100 views in 24 hours, which is like, for my channel, not good. The new record for the lowest amount of views. So even though that was probably my favorite battle report I made in a while, with the RX-7, you know, sounds and the shifting and all that, like I spent a lot of time and effort in it. I spent like 3 days working on it, so... That being said, we're not going to be pumping out too much Gaslands content. It'll be more like a fun game that we'll play, and if we decide to record it, you know. It's kind of a shame, but YouTube decided it was dead on arrival, so that's how she goes. Pirate Borg ship stuff is so easy. Use that instead. Yeah, even the Savage Worlds stuff had fun ship combat. We had a lot of fun with Savage Worlds, and we incorporated some Pirate Borg... some of the actual Pirate Borg mechanics as well. Like they have the sea shanty charts. So they were like singing sea shanties to give their ship a bonus. Because that wasn't in Savage Worlds. Alright. Oh, the black paint's downstairs. I guess I could use... I don't want to use my good black paint, but you know what? Screw it. Whatever. We don't need to paint much, honestly. We'll get some water, and we'll get some tunes going, and we'll keep going here. That's a new game for your community, giving it another 24 hours. Oh, yeah. I mean, but even, like, I know from other games that we've done, like, Turnip 28, for instance, and stuff like that. Like, those videos generally get, like, 400 views in the first day or something, but, like, 100 is... I spent a lot of time on that, so that's just, you know, in the future, something we'll revisit. But I can usually get a pretty good read from the channel what people want to watch in the first 48 hours, for instance, of the metrics. We're going to paint up our little satellite dish here. Played my first ranked game of Age of Empires 2. Got to feudal age. I think he got there a little bit faster, and I think he had a couple more vills than me, but we were going, I got 4 scouts, get to his base, it's fully walled up, and he just quits. So I think it was somebody trying to D-rank, but that's like the first game of AoE ranked I played. So I won. But I'm definitely nervous to get my ass demolished in that game. Oh, let me double check. Let me pull up my chat here too. How's it going, Wolf? I hope you're doing well, dude. And it's not the end of the world if a video kind of bombs a little bit, but you don't want to have bad streaks of that on your YouTube channel because it can really start screwing with the algorithm. And I gotta say, for like only having 1,300 subscribers, my videos do pretty well because I have another YouTube channel with more subscribers. So it's interesting to see the metrics between the two, you know what I mean? But the conflict stuff and the one-page rules stuff always does good. The miniature videos don't do too bad either if I do some sort of hobby-related stuff. Picked up some Quar recently for a side project, but I don't really like skirmish games, but the Quar rules seem pretty interesting. I gotta admit, dude, I love skirmish games. That's how we started out with the one-page rule skirmish games, and I'm really a fan of skirmish games. Like, I even really like Trench Crusade. I'm essentially building, like, you know, it's funny, I call it a skirmish game, but it's like a mix between a skirmish game and a full-size war game, honestly. It starts out skirmish level, and then it turns into, like, a full-blown fucking war game. But, yeah, we played our first game, me and Rev, and I was like, okay, what's Rev gonna tell me about? Because he'll tell me straight up, like, oh, this game sucks. Like, you gotta change everything sucks. But by the end of it, he was like, okay, this game's pretty sick. I was like, all right, nice. He's like the hardest dude to impress with a lot of this stuff. So I was like, fuck yeah. So we're working on this thing in the background, but eventually when it's looking good, we're gonna put a PDF out or something. The game's gonna be pretty much free, but I'm gonna do it like one-page rule styles, where maybe you can get like advanced rules by supporting the Patreon or some shit, you know, or something. I don't know. The main thing is I want it to be free, so people can just play it. It's like a miniature agnostic game. But I'd like to make minis for it eventually. So I need to like learn how to use Blender and all that jazz. But I want to get like a playtest alpha thing ready and then make a cool little PDF and then give it out to some folks to try out, get some feedback, this and that. It's going to take a while to work on it because I've never done game design, so. But it's a really cool concept. So, blending like RTS style. And I think it's quite different than the StarCraft game, even though I don't know much about that, but I've been playing so much Age of Empires, I was like, I'm gonna make like a freaking war game where you can just spawn units as you go. I'm gonna try and film my first battle report this weekend to see if I enjoy that. Nice, dude. Just try and have fun with it. Main thing is keep the camera stable. That's the biggest thing. Keep the camera stable. Don't shake it. But it's tricky because I invite, you know, I don't, like now with my buddy Rev, I've turned like us playing war games into like a, into more than a hobby for us, to where I'm like filming a lot of our games and stuff. But I try to do it in a way that's, I kind of do most, you know, the heavy load. But I try and make it fun, you know, that's the whole thing, you know, because my buddy's coming to play. I don't want to be like, all right, we got to stop, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. So just play your game as you normally would and just film it. And, you know, just try not to shake the camera too much and just have fun. One of the reasons I went to, like, where I slowed down the video by 60% and then I add stabilization is because I just have a hard time keeping the camera from shaking, even though one thing is I have a very nice camera as well, but a mirrorless camera. Just have fun. And try not to shake it too much. And then you'll be alright. Because that was the biggest thing I was doing when I first started making battle reports. How's it going, Dan Legion? Hope you're doing good. But I love to see there's like more and more conflict videos popping up in my feed, which I really love. There's like some, you know, fairly larger creators with decent followings, but also a ton of like smaller creators, which I love. Because I just love seeing more conflict content. We need more and more and more and more of it. Alright. Just kind of painting these little antenna ends black. What's going on, Scar? Buildings look great. I'll be in there. Alright, thanks, Fox. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys haven't, check out how do you say your full name? I just know I always see as Fox. It's FOXXOF RPG. Check them out on YouTube and Instagram. The Bolt Action Games has tons of K47 DLC comments. Guess you put out a K47 video today, me. Which was that the one that I watched earlier, where it was like your army? I commented on it. The Japanese look sick. I just dropped 5 more US HQ shorts. Ooh, nice. Okay. Very cool. Maybe we'll take a look at one of them on stream or something. But what are you saying, Wolf? The Bolt Action game has tons of K47 DLC comments. What do you mean? What game? Oh, one of your games? What do you mean? What do you mean K47 DLC game comments? Oh, you're talking about the Steam game. Ah, are you talking about on YouTube? They already said they're not going to do anything K47 related, as they only have the rights for the Bolt Action franchise or something. But it's going to be mods. People are just mod the game. As long as they allow people to mod the game, then we'll have K47. It's literally, Bolt Action's the same thing. But we went over the article. We've been keeping up with the updates on Steam. We've been checking in. And we read one. They did say they're not going to do any K47 stuff. In fact, I think it's only British, Americans, and Germans. I don't think there's any Japanese or Soviets as well. But maybe, like, it might be the thing where it's, like, years down the road they might do that. So I think it's going to be the modding community is really... If there's no modding for that game, it's going to die, I think. Like, some people will play it, but nobody just wants to play, like, 3 factions, 2 allies, and 1 Axis. But, just like Tabletop Simulator and all that, or, like, Mecha Chameleon, where there's 5 million maps for Mecha Chameleon, that's why people play that game. It's because there's only, like, 5 maps in the base game. I haven't played it, but I've seen a bunch of streamers playing and all that, and some friends. So that's a good thing about it's a PC game. The modding is going to be important. Because I'm going to be honest with you. It should have Soviets. It should have the Japanese. It should have freaking Hungarians and everything. Or maybe you could do all that in a separate thing or something. But it seems like they kind of half-cooked with it. But as long as they give us a game where it has the mechanics, then it could be modded. Yeah, they don't have the rights for it. It's not like Warlord Games is making the game. It's a game studio. Got the rights for Bolt Action and I guess worked with Warlord to probably get the rights for it and then make a Bolt Action game. So it's not like a studio like owned by Warlord Games or something, you know, or... And so far, I think Warlord Games hasn't been super crazy with their taking down stuff like, what's it called? Warhammer does, so we should be okay. It sucks it's not built in, but it's on Steam. You're going to be playing it on PC. The Steam Workshop's built right into it. If they had a built-in thing for mods, so you don't even need to, it's not a pain in the ass, and it's like they have a mod section, because if we, I'll show you like real quick. Hold on, give me a sec. Let me show you. Look how easy it is to mod your game in Age of Empires. Hold on. I'll show you real quick. Yo, Klovac, what's going on? This is exactly what they need to do for bolt action, okay? I'll show you right now. They make it so easy. It's like ridiculous. You go, look at this. Mods. And this downloads it right from the Steam Workshop or wherever. Or they have their own mods thing. I don't even know how it works. They might have their own mods thing. But you just type in what you want. You click it. Subscribe. And it just works. So if they have something like this. Oh my god. That would be even better. But chances are they probably won't. But even if it's just like some sort of thing where the game functionality, it doesn't make it to where you have to go out and do all this stuff, to where you can just be in game and you just download some stuff, you know what I mean? That'd be nice. So if they did something like that, baby. Because some games like this isn't, you know, that's an RTS game, but it's going to be a turn-based game. Some of these games do have like good mod support like that, but even if it's not built into the UI like that, as long as it's not like you have to jump through hoops and ladders to import an Ursus infantry unit, you know? And then somebody can mod and figure out if there's going to be like abilities or something like that. Or you need to do it manually while you're playing. I don't know. Because just think about it. It's like just a better version of Tabletop Simulator, right? Because there's like dudes running and moving and shooting. So that's a tricky thing. Like you would have to like figure out a way to import. There's going to be like animations, right? So I guess they could just do like simplified versions where it's like a very simple Ursus infantry and it's not a full running animation. And just hovering across the board. But hopefully people, I think people should be able to figure out how to do it. I mean, look, for Warhammer, people do it because Warhammer is big enough, right? That you just, enough eyes on it, or enough desire for somebody to mod it in or do it, right? So as long as Conflict has enough motion behind it, which it seems to. There was a video recently from, God, I don't know their names, but you know these guys are like sitting in chairs with a green screen? And they'll talk about Warhammer sometimes, about how it sucks or something. They said like they had another video, other war games that suck. And they were talking about Conflict, and they were like looking at the minis and all that. And the title says like war games, you know, this sucks or whatever. But they were just talking about stuff, and the comments were like popping off about Conflict. So I made sure to leave a comment myself. You know what I mean? Yo, Squig Herder Sean, appreciate that, bro. Coming in with the 5 gifted memberships. Sheesh. Appreciate that, my friend. Or with Burt Pina and goes, Steve. I've been watching Hey You video games. That's one of the jokes. But thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Very, very kind to you. How you been, Sean? What's going on, huh? It's a specialized game rather than TTS, which is totally unspecialized platform to make any game you want. Yeah, but the mechanics that are specialized is the bolt action gameplay or core mechanics. And for Conflict, all you need is the core mechanics for bolt action and then some additional little tweaks. So that's the main thing. Really what you need to mod is going to be the 3D models. That's all you really need to mod. As long as you have the dice rolling system and you know this can move that, this can move that. It depends how restrictive the actual gaming system is. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that, my friend. Also, Klovac, what's going on, dude? How's it going? All right, we got these basic antenna things done. Let's paint a really crappy general store sign. we got to do that. Also, let's get some tunes going again. And then next step is we're going to base the trees that we worked on recently. So if you guys haven't seen, I'll show you real quick, dude. You guys can obviously post whatever you want in the Discord. We'll take a look later. But finally, I think it should be good now. I used like 15 different types of grasses and flocking, and I painted the flocking and then reflocked it. It was like I went hard on this terrain piece. This thing right here, dude. Sheesh. I found grass on Amazon that had little tiny like oak leaves in it. And then this is also basil. This is crushed up basil. This is punched out oak leaves or something. This is sawdust or foam flocking. All of this was brown foam or green foam flocking that I painted brown. Then I painted brown over it for more brown spots. Then I reflocked some areas. Then I static grassed. Or first I did the bushes. I did these like little clumps, mixes of clump and natural stuff that we had. And then I did the grass flocking or static grass, but I didn't even use static. I just kind of did it or you know, kind of manually did it. And then I sprayed the whole thing down. So this was all painted and done a while ago, but then I just got done with it. So it's nice. It has like 3D texture to it, which is what I want. You know, it came out good. So what one thing this could be is this could be like a Normandy thing, right? Just to simulate some sort of hill, some sort of way you have to get up. You could have bunkers and things. That was kind of the idea, but really I just wanted some elevation on the board. So this is 4 foot, this is XPS foam, 2-inch thick. Eventually I want to have a full 6x4 setup. So like you could stack them and it could be like, I guess semi-modular, and just the idea that it's like you can move things around-ish. Not necessarily like where roads have to be at certain angles, and because I've done modular foam terrain before where there's like roads through flocked pieces and you have to like figure out the angles where everything's going to be meeting. Yeah, it came out pretty good. This is what it looked like halfway through. And before that it was just, let's see, could I see it? There's a lot of shit people have been posting in here. I think I posted it a while ago. It's been a while since I worked on it. Here we go. So this is Mod Podge and black paint and then sand sprinkled on top of it, essentially. That's what it looked like raw. I had to cut the pieces together. Dry brushed, and then I flocked it. I was like, I fucked it up. I covered it all in green. It just looks like a fucking Warhammer board from like the early 90s, which is cool in itself, but it's not what I was going for. So I had to kind of redo it, you know what I mean? And then we ended up with damn, I really had to go far up. I don't know how long ago I did that, but it must have been a while ago. Then we ended up with this. I think this looks far better. Good mate. I was a part of the event. It was fun. Won stuff from Tombola, map for D&D, and Ecos board game. Oh, cool. Hung out at the nerd store last night. Teaching my friend how to pin wash was really cool. Nice. You can get leaf punches from Gamer Grass or something, or Green Stuff World. You get tissue paper and soak them in ink, and then when you dry and punch out, you have infinite leaves. Ah, interesting. Subs only what? Is what subs only? What are you talking about? Yeah, but this was just convenient. For like $10, I got 4 different packs of grasses and stuff, you know? Those particular leaves are seeds. Ah. They're like opened up seed pods or something? Is that what they are? Yeah, it looks good anyway. And then the brown ones next to the yellowish ones are the ones that came in this static grass pack. The brown stuff is basil, which I had just an old thing of dried basil, which I use a lot of times. Okay, it came out alright. Alright, let me get some white paint. Let's get the music going. And we're going to freehand this store sign and ruin it. Gotcha. Okay, cool. I'll take a look later. Get a little gray paint in here. Yeah, I'm excited. Tomorrow we're filming our pre-invasion America, so... And I think it's going to be our first sponsor video. We'll see. But, I don't know. I'm so tempted to use the... I wonder if I'll get copy striked. I guess maybe I could do a test. But I'm so tempted to use the Red Alert 3 intro where the Japanese are invading and then cut in footage from the battle report. But I might just keep it traditional. I don't know. I need to think. But I want to do some... It's not just going to be like a normal intro. I'm definitely going to do cinematic. With the miniatures, like I've done in other battle reports. Kind of like Alpine Assault sort of thing. Except that was with real snow. That was sick. That was fucking sick. Using the real snow. Either way, it's going to be cool. I'm going to paint over. I wanted to get another layer. I did a test with a pencil. You can still kind of see it. That actually kind of works out. Using a shit brush right now. Outline and pencil and then freehand? Yeah, that's kind of what I did. But I also wrote gas on it because I thought this was the gas station one. Then I realized it wasn't. I was like, oh shit. But it looks like I can still see the pencil underneath, so that kind of works. And you're just kind of covering up the gas a little bit nice. Where I screwed up. In fact, you could just kind of see it anyway, so I could just go on top. Do it for the Vine. Are you talking about the freaking social media thing, Vine? I just knew of Vines, but I never used Vine. Is that even still a thing? How the hell do you know Vine? Wasn't that like dead before you were born, Kolovec, or something? Does anyone remember Vine? I never like used it or went to it. I don't even know what. I just remember seeing videos that came from it on like YouTube or something. Back in the day. Yeah, Vine's long gone. Yeah, you're just talking about something else. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, Vine? You even know what MySpace is? It's old man technology. Yeah, see? Damn Legion knows what I'm talking about. You're in New Zealand, though. That's fair. Like, you guys still were using MySpace probably 10 years ago. Okay? No, I'm just... Alright. Let me let that dry a second. I'm trying to think. I mean, I got most of this stuff done. I wouldn't mind doing something like battle damage, so... I could always do some sort of... like, rough up the edges with some lighter paint. And then do some rusting, but... It is... I like to think it's almost kind of like a newer thing. I was thinking about doing, camoing on it, but I was like, whatever, we'll just make it green. I still remember musically before becoming TikTok. I don't even know what that is. Sounds familiar though. Habbo Hotel? I don't know what the fuck that is. Yo, what's going on, Dex? How's it going? Hope you're doing well, dude. Alright. Stuff dries pretty quick, and it's also just hot as hell. It's the time of year where you put a little paint on your palette, and by the time it's, or on your brush, you do like a couple strokes and then the brush is dry already. I predate Google. I don't know. That's that's not good phrasing, and I'll just say that. I was around when web brains were invented. Web? Were you born in the 40s or something? Is that what they used to decipher the German code? You can tell how shit this one craft paint is. Whenever my fingers are slightly wet, because I just touched the brush, the paint automatically gets wet again and starts coming off. That one brown paint I used from the dollar store is literally... I don't even think you can call it paint, but... it works. 1840s? Okay, okay. So you're a vampire. I gotcha. I didn't wet my brush enough. Alright. Let's just free ball it. How stiff is my brush? Okay, there we go. I mean, this Jim Bob painted this, you know what I mean? Oh, Jim Bob, he was really drunk when he painted this. I'm gonna make it some thicker lettering. I'm also trying to hold this up. Let me like not. I was painting George Washington for the video, so I was like holding the. Let me get a little bit more comfortable. Jim Bob went up there. He went down to Ace Hardware store. Got himself a ladder and a roller. I ain't paying no guy to make this sign. Just go do it myself. He had to look up how to spell gas first, though. Just to make sure. I actually kind of like the idea he got like one of the local handy guys, you know, his buddy. Yeah. Yeah, that's good enough for government work. I'm gonna make the sign all like this is a terrible G, by the way. It's in the West Coast, like small town area near a military base, or like it's like a military post trading post. Did my Twitch just die? What just happened? You guys good? Did we drop frames or what? Twitch just did something weird. Okay, just, yeah. It's funny because my, it doesn't even show drop frames. It just literally disappeared for a second or something. Whatever. Dude, this G's gonna be the death of me here. Alright, Jim Bob, keep it steady now. I'm going off the script a little bit too, but that's okay. Ooh, a gas can? Do like little gas cans or something? Yeah, I was wondering, I could do like some sort of little... What would Jim Bob put on there? What do you guys think? I was thinking like a money sign almost, but yeah, maybe like a little gas sign or something. I think I need to actually... I'm just gonna freehand it. General store. Come on down to Jim Bob's General Store. Yeah, it's not bad. It's good enough. Small town, USA of A. Jim Bob will cover it in stars and stripes. Well, your Jim Bob's also kind of frugal. We're in a small place. He doesn't get a lot of customers through here. So you're thinking he had the daily, what do you call it? He had the budget for the red, white, and blue paint. So he's wearing his stars and stripes hat. Don't worry. He's got a flag flying out front. Oh, I should actually print a flag and put a flag on one of these. Or like have a flag post. That's actually a sick idea. All right. Is that good enough? What is a gas symbol? Like a pump? I'm not painting that. This is good enough right here. I'm gonna rough it up, make it look all dirty. I'm lucky I did that clean enough. I do have these that I want to do. I don't know how to... What does a gas pump from the 40s look like? Let's see. Red, eh? Something gasoline up top is what we could put. And there is supposed to be like a little meter, but we could just paint like a little thing. Alright, we're going to do it red. I like the red on that. I like how this is, in fact, yes, this is a 1940s gas pump, it looks like. Or maybe 50s. But it's identical, the same exact thing. You don't find stars and stripes. Oh, you're saying he stole it? No. He's an honest man. He runs a general store. You can't be stealing out of people's trucks if you're the general store owner, because then otherwise the people would riot. Don't you go changing my Jim Bob lore. You make your own Jim Bob. You get your own identical Jim Bob in an alternate small town. Your guy steals paint. My guy, he's just frugal, but yet humble. Okay. I'm not gonna go too fancy. We could do white in the middle and yellow. I'm just gonna paint the whole thing red, and then we'll do like black on the panel. You make your own Jim Blob lore. Yeah, Jim Blob. Yours gonna be Jim Blob. This is like the only red that I really have, which is a on sale Vallejo flat flesh red. It actually works pretty good. From Hobby Lobby. I should have called myself like the budget wargamer, honestly. Is that a name? That should be a YouTube channel. Alas, Mike Rose Dice it is. You could change gas to Texaco with red pumps. Ooh. Texaco, eh? That is very tempting. I could just paint it like white, or we could just look up a Texaco sign. But what was the range of Texaco? Is that what... I mean, that's what the pump is, right? Would they be up on... Were they, like, nationwide back then or something? I've never seen a Texaco gas thing, so I'm assuming they're not still around, or at least not on the East Coast nowadays. There's a Shell one. Shell's still around, obviously. So would Texaco been in, like, the West Coast? In the 40s? Sounds like it, probably. We have to be semi-lore accurate. Especially being that this is American stuff now, we should know. Petrol from Tesco. We get it from Texaco. I mean, it might be more like a, you know, if you live in like Texas in the South or something, they have Texacos. We have like Mobile, Shell, Hess, a couple others. Freaking 7-Elevens. Don't forget Costco gas stations. Get your Wiener Schnitzels and your gas at the same time. Never had Wiener Schnitzels. Just sausage, right? Schnitzel! Lore accurate Axis platoon commander phrases, by the way, for you to yell during your game. Schnitzel! When something goes wrong. That's what they say in Conflict, if you haven't read the book. Texaco was nationwide in the 40s, according to Google. Alright, I like it. Maybe we do a Texaco sign. I kind of like the gas, though. And I don't mind it just them having a Texaco pump, you know? We'll take a look and see what a Texaco sign looked like in the 40s, if I get inspired. But it also looks like a star with, like, letters, and, like, it's going to look terrible if I do it. You guys are all, like, professional miniature painters and shit. I'm going to have to do that on this tiny little gas thing. It's going to be, oof. Like, Warlord, where's my Texaco gas pump sprues in my American starter set? What the hell? Or not sprues, but, transfer sheets. Come on, what are we doing here? It's a cutlet. Gotcha. Wiener Schnitzel. Nothing better than just yelling that when you're playing, what's that World War II trench game? Over the Top, I think it is. God, that game's so good. Just yelling Schnitzel as like a German. Motivating the whole army on your team to charge over the trenches. Alright, we'll paint these gas pumps up. Try and figure out something for the panels. There's supposed to be like a little meter. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll just paint it white and do like little black lettering or something. Fried chicken and stabby sticks, really? Every society, eh? Sounds reasonable. So let's see, I'm going to edit George Washington video. I filmed part of the Turk video, but all it was me assembling the Janissaries and the thing. Now, what I really should do is I should really get to work on making, or you know what, I might just combine, because I don't know, it's going to be tricky. Because we did the Tepi guys on stream, so. And the cavalry, a lot of that. But I want to start working on the next Turkish faction video. But I have a feeling for the next couple months we're going to be heavy Japanese. Rev already just constantly wants to play Japanese. It's his favorite army. And he's trying to figure out, like, competitive ways of playing it and stuff. But we've been doing all sorts of different battle reports. But now with Invasion America, I think when Invasion America, the book arrives, I'm going to start immediately preparing for the actual campaigns or missions. And we're going to go through one by one and do all of them. So that'll take a little bit of time because it's the sort of thing like what we're doing here where we're printing terrain for it and making custom terrain for missions and stuff. Good thing is all this stuff will come in handy, so. But we have like American suburb buildings we're going to print for like, let's say, you know, rural California or somewhere gets invaded. Or New York or something. Well, I'll tell you what, the folks that play Japanese love playing the Japanese, or love the Japanese. I've never played them. I've played every army except for them, because I've played the Brits a couple times. Oh, right, and I've never played with the Soviets. That's right. So I need to play with those armies at some point. Because we can just switch, me and Rev. But I'll usually make my own list and see with whatever minis he has available. But I am going to start my own automated platoon here soon, so... Can't decide between Japanese and Russians for K-47. I'd say play whatever you think looks the coolest and you're most excited about, like, model-wise. I don't think, like, how strong or... Because, you know what, like, some people say, oh, well, you know, the Japanese maybe aren't this or that. I think the Japanese is some of the coolest minis. And I think it should be, like... Because you're going to be spending so much time painting, putting stuff together. And even when you're playing with it, if it's an army that's, like, you know... I don't know. Pick whatever you think is going to be the coolest, whether it's going to be, you know, bears and Soviet armored dudes, or it's going to be ghost attack guys and Shibitu squads, or whatever. Bunch of dudes with bamboo sticks. Yeah, I always say start with, I mean, because think about it, dude. Like, I'm always excited to you know, especially for my Americans as an American player. And then with the Axis, you know, which I really love, but especially making my own, like, faction of the Axis, essentially, with Little Peacock and all that, and my own crazy, like, you know, emu guys and stuff. And now I'm making the Turks, stuff like that. So do whatever you're going to be the most excited for. To play with, to work on, to paint. You know, think about when you're at work, you're like, oh man, it's going to be sick. Because I wouldn't worry too much of it, unless you, like, go and play a bunch of games at, like, tournaments and shit, and you're super competitive. But I think with this sort of game in general, anyway, you don't have to, you know, it doesn't really, it encourages playing for fun more so than not, as opposed to playing super competitively, you know. I think I made up my mind too. We're not doing a Texaco sign just because I already am going to have to paint Texaco on here. And I do not want to screw it up. And we also have to base like 20 trees or something that are sitting next to me. So we got a lot of stuff to do. But this I'm happy with. Oh yeah, we should get like a little... dirty it up a little bit because there's like a little bit of petroleum from the hose touching it. Just collecting for now. So then, yeah, do whatever you're most excited for. I love the Japanese. I also love the Soviets too, though. I could totally see one day having like a full Soviet power armor with like the clunky power armor looking dudes. I love the look of those guys. Or having like a stalker army. You know what I mean? Which doesn't necessarily make sense, but I love the idea of it, like that sort of thing. Like Russian dudes in gas masks and stuff. I just want to play Stalker. We're definitely going to do Zone Alpha at some point. There's some games that I want to film solo. You know what I mean? I think Zone Alpha will be one of them. Because there's definitely, I could be filming games during the week. I just don't have anyone to play with, so I'm trying to look at some solo options. Yeah, I feel like you could totally use Stalker-esque looking models. Just look Slavic, gas masky looking dudes and use them in your K-47 Soviet army. I think that totally you could get away with that, you know? I think that would work pretty good. So the Texaco sign is like a white circle, or the white is on the inside here. Let's see if we can do this. It's the weekend. Neighbors' dogs are yapping. I have just cranberry and seltzer at the moment, but I'm gonna have to mix in a little silly juice here soon. I'll find some STLs online with some dudes in gas masks. Good idea. Yeah, exactly. There's a ton of stalker models on 3D prints for Zone Alpha and stuff like that. You can do like an anomaly Soviet force. And it doesn't have to be stalker, but I think it could be that sort of like weird Dyatlov Pass Soviet sort of, you know, thing where there's like weird shit going on and nobody knows about. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to be like after in the Chernobyl exclusion zone sort of thing, right? Because there's like some weird shit going on in Soviet Russia and stuff. I'm sure you could lean into that, you know, in the like 50s Soviet aesthetics. Because like a lot of this stuff, it just, you know, they were like working on, you know, like certain weapon platforms, this and that. And I think, imagine with conflict, it probably changed all of that. Like it would probably change how you maybe approach making a weapon system now. But it also probably sped things up for them production-wise, I'm assuming. I don't know how it works officially in K-47, but I'm assuming with the Soviets, just like in World War II, they're kind of all about freaking meat waves and just making a million tanks and walkers. They don't necessarily have like crazy, you know, engineered stuff. It's like, okay, we'll make these whatever 26s, or I don't know, whatever tanks they had. We'll just make like a million of them. We're going to lose a shit ton of them, but we'll just overwhelm a Panzer Brigade or something, you know. I think that's probably what they're doing in conflicts. I haven't looked too much into the lore if there is any available. A BTR? That's interesting. Did you know that you get a higher dose of radiation flying to Chernobyl than spending 3 days in the zone? Oh yeah. What's the dangerous stuff is if you're like kicking up like dust and stuff, or like what happened with the Russian troops in like 2022 or whatever, where they went through the exclusion zone and they dug up the soil for tanks and stuff to make like tank trenches, or to like sit the tanks, you know, so they weren't exposed. This was all before drone warfare. And these guys were digging up like soil in the Red Forest. It's like all the stuff that's been buried and is underneath. But once you start like like digging that all up, or you're kicking up dust and stuff, that's where you start getting into trouble, you know what I mean? It's like walking around, you can limit your contamination to stuff, you know, pretty well. But yeah. So, I wonder how those guys are doing now. They're probably not doing too good. Alright. Because something tells me that it was probably a very high dose of radiation. I watched some news reports on it and whatnot. And where they went and measured afterwards, like the area is so, like, such high dosages of radiation from all that contaminated soil and stuff they dug up. And they were like sitting in there and eating and stuff and smoking cigarettes and stuff. It's like, oh, dude. Ugh. That's the scary thing about radiation. It's completely invisible, right? So that's like the most terrifying thing about radiation. In video games, you constantly like have some sort of Geiger count or some sort of like meter or something. But in real life, you could just die from radiation if you like find a piece of laboratory equipment like that dude in Brazil or somewhere. Kyle Hill makes some really good videos on radiation and nuclear stuff. He's very big into nuclear energy. I don't know where I am on it, but he explains nuclear science pretty good to us dumb folks, at least. So yeah, Kyle Hill, he's great. He also plays Magic the Gathering. So all right, let's see if we can paint this. A red star. All right, this is going to be very, very rudimentary and crude, chat. Okay, don't get your. I'm not. Don't think we're squig herder over here. Okay. Don't get your hopes up. It's spread over a large area, so you can sit there for hours and receive small dosages. Yeah, but it's, I don't know, dude. I wouldn't be fucking with that shit. Have you seen what's his name? That like, you know, there's that meme of that like. I think he's Ukrainian actually. That one guy that like goes into the like tunnels in the exclusion zone. He's like a funky dude. He's got a wacky look. You probably know who I'm talking about. He's like a meme. But like I remember him and I found their YouTube channel and they were like going into the exclusion zone all the time. And they were even going during like the war and everything too. Because they had Ukrainian soldiers that were friends or whatever, so they let them in there. But they were like in a freaking inflatable raft like in the lakes. That are surrounding like the buildings, and they had chainsaws and they were like chainsawing their own rafts. I was like, what the fuck? I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, he's a stalker or something. Or I think they were doing. I think he actually used to. He had friends that were stalkers and stuff, but he used to do tons of videos of them going into the exclusion zone. I forgot the guy's name though. He's like a legend. He's a little dude. You know who I'm talking about. Klovek probably knows who I'm talking about. They're always like getting drunk and like going like diving into like water in the facility and stuff. I forgot the guy's name though. He's a little dude. Him and his buddies. He was like, it was like you see him in tons of memes and stuff, like in like meme photos. But I was like, oh, I started watching his YouTube channel. I'm like, and I was just sitting, I'm watching him do all this. I'm like, yeah, this is, you know what? This is entertaining. Super Susu. Yeah. Susu. Yeah. Because I watch it and it's all like translated. So they have like, I think they actually get English people to translate it. I don't think it was auto-generated, but it was just so funny. It like the translations and everything as an English viewer, it was so funny to watch his content. Why not use a Red Star Soviet transfer? Because I don't have any Soviet models. Rev does. And it's a challenge. Why not? I'm going to clean it up a little bit because I screwed one section up. You know what I mean? Hey, look, it doesn't need to be perfect, dude. It can have it could have a little charm to it. Human error. This is one thing I've learned because of AI. Imperfectness will be a thing that people look for in their life, in content and stuff. So you know what? The fact that it's not perfect, it's okay. I'm getting more and more content with like, oh, you know what? It's alright if it's a little... If that could have done better. In fact, I'm going to just make the star larger on this side. Yeah, what you're going to find too, they're going to be using, you know how they do the AI music? They're going to like purposefully have the raw notes and stuff. Because right now they auto-tune the shit out of everything. I watch this guy who like analyzes music and looks to see if it's AI or not. Because there's a lot of fake content on like Instagram and fake musicians and stuff. And he's like, watch, they're going to probably start doing that in the future. They're going to be making it to where it's imperfect music. I'm just going to clean it up. I went sloppy, but that's okay because we can just clean it up. But AI is learning how to fake imperfection too. That's what I'm talking about. I think it'll always be one step behind, though. I hope if we get to the point to where it can emulate the imperfections in humans perfectly, then we're really fucking screwed. Because like you could tell something that's too perfect, like even AI images and stuff like that, like the resolution and the crispness and things like that. That's when we're really screwed. The one on the right's really nice, so I just got to clean it up to get it like the one on the right. That looks good enough for me. Is this for conflict? How's it going, low skill brain? Oh yeah, Invasion Amerika. What do you mean is this for conflict? George Washington II with a 1911 and an ATRD says, hell yeah, it is. What's going on, sir? How's it going? ChatGPT, can you analyze the board state of this match and give me my best activation and next move? Yeah, exactly. I think you guys want $1 million idea for a video? Play a game of Conflict against ChatGPT and see. That would be a great video. In fact, I really should do that. Where I'm like, all right, this is the board, this, that. What's your move? You get the dice. What would you like to do? And see whether or not I can beat ChatGPT. But I hate AI, so I probably won't. But that would be such a good video. Maybe one day. And be like, and then when I beat it, I'm like, down with the clankers, and I like have a laptop and I smash it. Cause it's gonna get so much stuff wrong. It doesn't know everything, obviously. Just like the Google responses you get. I like the minis for the game, but nobody local wants to start up, so I'm stuck in the GW machine. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, low skill brain. What do you call it? I'm gonna call you low. What do you call it? You know what? That means you just gotta collect 2 little armies in Conflict and convince one of your buddies just to play with you. I'm lucky that me and Rev, like, he's just a good friend of mine. I don't really go to game stores and play. I just play with friends. Really just Rev. But, what do you call it? Yeah, I could imagine if you're going to, like, a game store or something and trying to convince people. Well, we're doing our part. I make battle reports on the game and try and make it as appealing as I can to folks. There's nothing more than I want for this game to be even just half as popular as Warhammer. God. It's doing pretty good, honestly. It's I'd say Conflict and Trench Crusade are like the 2 biggest competitors, right? But I was like a little worried. I was like, is Conflict just gonna like die out or something? But it's doing really good, so I'm happy to see that it's still got a great. It seems to be growing, you know. It wasn't like it released and like there was hype for a couple months. I started small with Gaslands and convinced people to join me in that. I love Gaslands, dude. I'm so sad the most recent battle report got no views. We're not going to be doing Gaslands for a while on the channel, but what do you call it? That game is so easy to get into because you just need a couple Hot Wheels or Matchbox. Absolutely love Gas. It was so much fun to play and like film a battle report. It sucks that like nobody watched it. YouTube must have like been like, nope, nobody. We're not gonna recommend this video because it's definitely not the normal wheelhouse or something. They decided, or well, I guess the folks decided because it's first 24 hours people see it whether they click it or not. So, but God, that game is so good. I'm trying to get, it's like trying to get a WoW player to try a new MMO. Oh my God, that's such a great, or it's trying to get a D&D player to play anything else than D&D. My God, do you know, I had to twist Rev's arm and leg to try Savage Worlds out and learn a new game system. Why? When we can just play D&D? Why? You can just play Pirate D&D or Space D&D. I'm like, not everything has to be goddamn D&D. Okay? No, I appreciate it, Dan. I shouldn't say nobody watched it, but, like, Normally my videos get like 500-600 views in the first day. It got 100 views. So it's like I spent 3 days working on it, right? So I just need to like think like, do I want to spend 3 full working days on a video that's going to get like 100 views in the first 24 hours? You know what I mean? I'll still make videos on it in the future, but it's not going to be like that. You know what I mean? But what was I going to say? Oh, D&D. But once they tried Savage Worlds out, they were like, this is sick. Exploding die and stuff like that. Oh my god, it was so much fun. But I'm telling you, getting a D&D player to try something else out other than D&D is like one of the hardest things in the world. Same thing with Warhammer players or GW players. Same thing with what did Legion say? Or who said? Sir say WoW players to play anything else. This one I'm struggling with, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. But yeah, I don't know what the best course of action for something like that would be to try and get somebody into it, you know? Yeah, but, you know, you do have control over it, because if certain topics do better or certain things do better, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's games, right? So if I go and play Space Freaks, which is a cool little skirmish game, and I record a video, it's probably going to get like 100 views or something like that, because it's a pretty obscure miniature game that doesn't seem to get a lot of traction on YouTube. But if I make a conflict or a one-page rules battle report, the analytics, it just pushes the game so much more, because people are searching, they're looking, and it recommends that sort of content to them. So you do have somewhat control, and it's what content you're making. But obviously, if it's like you're going for broad scale, you're talking about the views on your channel, yeah. And it's like one thing, you know, if I'm just making a video for fun on a topic or something. But for instance, this video that we're going to be recording tomorrow will be like our first sponsored video, for instance. So I do need to make sure that, you know, analytics are somewhat important. You don't want to live and die by them, but I think I could just clean it up with the white. I'm just getting it where I like it. I don't need to obsess over. God, the right one I did so good. When I was a kid, we were nerds. We were always excited to try something different. Today, a lot of people seem more interested into identifying with the particular game culture. Yeah, definitely. It definitely seems like, well, it doesn't matter whether it's games, right? It's anything in life. You know what I mean? It's definitely like there's a lot of like community culture behind it, where you kind of like gravitate, or you find yourself like, well, I'm this sort of player, or this sort of gamer, or this sort of person, whatever. I bought 2 armies, getting them painted, and we'll soon put on somewhat showcase games at the local store. That's perfect, sir. That's the way to do it. Now, it's tough, though, right, to, like, get 2 armies. But if you're in the position where you can, I mean, I think you'll find somebody that'll want to play the game with you. Because if you just get a Warhammer 40k player to try Conflict, I think they would enjoy the... One of the reasons why we switched over to playing this full-time over 40k is that the game system was like way different than what we play with 40k, and we found out we like this better. You know what I mean? I mainly make conflict videos and get anywhere between 500 and 400 views at random. Well, it's not at random. It's just that certain topics do better than others. And it's probably the thumbnails and just all sorts. There's so many factors that are involved. But I bet you there's a trend behind why some of your videos do better than others. Same thing with mine, right? One, I'll tell you right now, in the conflict videos, any video with the Axis seems to do like the least. Or like if it's mainly Axis focused. But anything with the Japanese and the Soviets seems to get more views than all the other K-47 stuff. And I think that's because people want to see Soviet and Japanese battle reports. Especially Japanese ones and stuff. Any Japanese battle reports we do generally tend to get more views than the other ones. But yeah, I know what you're saying, Sean. It is kind of like that. Just like culture in general changed with how people gravitate or um, consume, like, hobbies and stuff nowadays, or take part in them and stuff. But either way, it doesn't matter. I don't try and get too tied into views and all that, but, I need to be realistic about stuff. And I spent 3 days on it, and I'm a grown-ass man. That where the little bit of ad revenue and this and that from both my YouTube channels along with my fly time is what pays the bills. So I can't be spending 3 days working on a video to where it made 15 cents in the first day. You know what I mean? That's just part of the reality of the situation. Looking at the armies just at a glance, the Soviet ones were kind of drawing my attention with the bears. This is what we were just talking about this earlier. Whatever looks interesting to you, I think that's what you should play. I'm a big I saw US, and I was like, USA, USA. You know what I mean? So that's like, okay. And if you would have told me that I would have ended up with a George Washington miniature, I probably would have been surprised, but I also would have been like, hell yeah, baby. That's pretty good. I would not have been surprised, but still excited. Because this is like right up my alley. You know what I mean? And it was really the war, like we were turned off from bolt action for a while because it's historical. It's like very historical in the terms that it's, like I don't want to be playing with Waffen SS dudes that committed like war crimes. You know what I mean? But with conflict in particular, they kind of like were able to step away, separate it from the, still keeping it involved with World War II, but able to separate a lot of the bad stuff. So I think it just brings it open to a wider audience. Because for a while, we were turned off from, like, bolt action. Like, I don't know, do I want to play with, like, World War II and, like, have Germans killing Americans and Americans, like, yeah. But nowadays, I'm like, I love bolt action. It's sick. But, it's also been long enough, I think, with World War II. Like, I grew up playing World War II video games. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I think Conflict was able to add with the weird war factor and how they did all that. I think it just opens up it up to such a wider audience. You know what I mean? I will say, once we tried bolt action, though, I'm like, all right, dude, why the fuck did we wait this long to play bolt action? But that is one of the things. A lot of people I know don't want to play World War II miniature games. It's because weebs and Reds are online all the time. What the hell's Reds? Is that like... Well, we refined gentlemen of the Green Vault are searching for Atlantis. Speak for yourself. I'm online all the time, too. I'm sitting at home editing and fly tying all day, all right? And looking for the right fez color to outmatch a particular fez painter. Okay? I think it's mostly sunken cost fallacy with all our limited time. There's a lot of stuff fighting. Yeah, that definitely, like... Too, I think, and a lot of Warhammer players I know personally, they're like, I've spent $1,000 on this game. I'm not playing another game. When you can start a conflict army for a couple $100. But I also think Games Workshop has trained their customers to like this cycle of like making new miniatures, making them or units, making them strong, then nerfing them, and then changing it and all this. The game's also very competitive. And even when I hear people say they don't play competitive, this game just wants you to be competitive. So then you end up like spending so much money on like Warhammer stuff that you're like, I think you're in too deep at that point. You know what I mean? Because if you tell your wife or your girlfriend like you're gonna start playing a new game, you already got fucking 30 boxes of guardsmen behind you or something, probably not even assembled. You know what I mean? I know a ton of Warhammer dudes that just have like the craziest piles of shame. I'm like, you could have bought a car. You could have bought a used 98 Honda Civic 5-speed for that amount of plastic you have in your room. But, I ain't shaming. I'm jealous because I can afford that. Yeah, but I know friends personally that they just don't play Warhammer, buy all the Warhammer shit, and like don't want to try other games because they just want more Warhammer stuff. I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's like a Kool-Aid thing, or they just love the lore so much they don't even really care about the game as much as just like buying the minis and My buddy Garrett, he must have an entire game store worth of vintage like Warhammer stuff that he buys off eBay. He has so much sick in the box and some unboxed like vintage Warhammer models and like 40K tanks and like stuff from the 90s. He's like just been buying all this stuff like crazy. And he opens up drawers. I'm like, don't even show me anymore. He opened up like 3 cabinets. The whole like room was filled. I was like, I had to step out of the room. I'm like, what are you doing with all this stuff, bro? He's never even like he's like painted one miniature. I airbrushed a whole Dark Angels army for him, 2,000 points. He's not painted a single thing of it. But he keeps buying it, dude, But he enjoys it that way. That's how he enjoys miniature hobbying. He doesn't even like really put them together. I think he just likes hoarding them like he's Gollum. But if that's how he likes it, then shit, more power to him. We end up getting some spillover where he gives us some free shit every once in a while, like terrain and stuff, so. I could have every K-47 army for how much I spent on my orcs. It's crazy. Yeah, real and true. Okay? Real and true. Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's like a... I don't know. I think they know how to market GW and they know how to get people like hooked into like miniature buying and like I don't know. They figured it out, dude. They know what they're doing. I saw right through the guys right from the get-go. Miniatures discourse and certain people helped me see through because when I like bought miniatures and then I was like, what the hell? And I figured things out. You know what really was that the point that turned me on GW, because we were brand new into Warhammer and we were like, okay, yeah, whatever, it ain't so bad. And this is when I learned what the game was like, is when I paid for the freaking app thinking that I would get access to my unit like rules and like my stats, only to find out I had to buy the codex. I didn't know because we were brand new Warhammer players. We just went and bought some miniatures and like downloaded the app and went to play. And that right there, I was like, man, fuck this. And I said, I'm never like giving them a single dollar after. I just reprinted everything, went to Wahapedia, the Russian website. And meanwhile, Rev's buying codexes. He's buying brand new guard boxes, this and that. I'm like, don't you give him a single penny, bro. Fuck them. Fuck GW. I'll never forget. I bought the app for like $10 or whatever it was for the month. And I was so pissed when I found out I couldn't get the stats. Because what happened is, like, the Wahapedia website went down, and I couldn't play the game. Because we were, like, brand new. So I'm like, I don't know what the stats and the units do. I was so upset, because we set everything up. We had to, like, I think it was, like, we just winged it. But it was, like, it ruined the night of, like, gaming for us, 1,600 point Australian army in bolt action. No K-47 yet? Is that what you're saying? Rev is a menace, okay? You don't even want to know what he's doing. He's got Chaos, or he's got a Knight's army he's painting right now. He's not even playing Warhammer. He's got a Talaran Guard army, which looks sick, that he, like, all kit bashed up, which is, like, the Middle Eastern Guard. He's got his full Guard army. I 3D printed him, like, a full Thousand Sons army, but he got a bunch of other stuff. You should just see, dude. Then he went and like Blood and Plunder, Hail Caesar. He went and got a bunch of shit. He's got like so much shit. I went over there. I was like, dude, what? He's like, I got too much. I'm like, you need to take a break. No miniature. Don't buy any miniature shit for a while because you are like, Talarn or something. I don't know. It's 40K. Nobody gives a shit about that stuff. All right. All I know is Cadia. All right, Cadia stands or whatever. But yeah, he's got so much shit. We were like, dude, you gotta chill for a little bit, all right? Because you got Japanese starter army coming. You know what I mean? He had to do the whole Totem Core set, and I'm like, let's chill out a little bit, Yeah, I only know like Blood Angels lore and some basic 40K lore overall. I've listened to a bunch of Blood Angels audiobooks and stuff, but well, not a bunch, but some. All right. I'm gonna grab a drink here. We'll clean that up when I get back, and I'm gonna tell you this is gonna be the big probably chunk of the stream. This was just some finishing up, but I'll show you real quick if I can do this without destroying my desk. Check it out. We made a couple, I think, of these big ones or something, but these are some other ones I made. What we need to do is we need to flock or finish the bases on these. So that's what we're gonna do. I do need to get like a newspaper piece or something would be nice. And what do you call it? But we will finish this yeah, we'll finish this when I get back. We'll try and clean up with the white, make it a little bit cleaner, the star, and do a couple little squiggles in black for the gas pump. And then that'll be good to go. Very nice, very nice. Okay. I started Warhammer in 87. Sheesh. God damn, Sean. So much change since then, increasing the velocity of shitification. Yeah, I could see if you started back then, dude, the game drastically changed. I have a Humber coming. Nice. What is that? Is that an armored vehicle, right? All right, we're gonna take a quick little break, chat, and when I get back, what do you call it? We are going to keep on finishing this stuff up here. But I'm gonna grab a little cocktail, so I'll be back in just a moment, chat. We got some tunes for you in our little slideshow. Chat amongst yourselves, and we're going to keep on hopping when I get back. I've enjoyed 40K since 87, just couldn't afford New Zealand prices. That's what I've heard for the Aussies and for the Kiwis, that your import prices on this stuff is like crazy. I think, what is it, Dave from Tabletop Time? You know, he had his store or something, and he was explaining that how like Warhammer prices and everything in Australia, and owning a store was really tough to operate, you know. So, all right, we'll be back in a second, chat, and what do you call it? We'll keep on crushing here. All right. Early 2000s was still the same game, and feel as a company and game after that shift back, just kind of like with Magic and Hasbro, like how Hasbro ruined Magic the Gathering. Exactly. Same old news, different story. That's the wrong thing. Corporate greed. All right, I'll be back in a second, chat. You guys almost got an Albie video, fly fishing for Albies. You gotta tune in on Fridays for that, though. A box of basic troops, 125. Ugh. Started in 5th, left at 7th, came back for 10th. Game is good, but the points tracking getting too much. Dude, I gotta say, 10th edition for a competitive war game. God, it's a good game, but, you know. Also, why the hell do I have 0 frames right now? Can you guys hear me? What the fuck happened? Oh, it just came back. Alright. Something's been going on with my internet, where it's been dropping in and out. So, you guys might need to refresh, but I think we're okay. We should be alright. I just wanted to make sure. I'll be back in a second, chat, alright? All right, we're back. Thank you for the jewels. Appreciate that, damn Legion. Not much playing though. K40 or playing K47 changed that part. Nice, good. I'm glad you're playing a bunch. I saw your recent game. It looks sick, by the way. I should get a battle mat where it's like roads. You know what I mean? I really should. But I should also just maybe make a freaking terrain board at this point. Go down to Home Depot, get some new pieces of XPS, and just bang it out. Let's see if we can clean up this little gas pump, and then I want to start flocking the bases of the trees. Because I do need to... I want to get this George Washington. That's going to be... entertaining, but yet not stupid. I almost just need to, like, redo it. I'm trying to see if I can save this star. How did I do it so perfect on this, on the first one? Moonstone. The kit for Moonstone on Tabletop Cinema was made by the devs of Moonstone. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Did we, like, drop frames again or something? I haven't checked it out. We'll have to take a look at Moonstone. There's a cool game that I saw from Narcoleptic Wizard on Instagram. It's called Skarn, where it's, like, really tiny, epic scale dudes versus, like, big monsters or something, so you can use like big D&D looking monsters. That look pretty cool. There's some cool games out there. I still want to I'm gonna expand my turnip. I want to make them more like, well, I have the carrot guys, I guess, that I can expand, but I still really love turnip, and I did pretty well on the channel, so I'm excited to do more turnip 28. Got a lot of new subscribers from turnip. New eyes. That's like one of my favorite miniature aesthetics in a long time. Obviously Conflict as well, but Turnip 28, that like funky, homemade, sort of wacky style, I love that so much. It's like one of my favorites. The star on the left's going to be the death of me. Just clean it up, redo it. Let's work on the little squiggle writing. Let me look. Let's see Moonstone, shall we? Oh yeah, okay. Kind of whimsical, funky looking. That's pretty cool. Looks like a skirmish game, huh? Like smaller scale. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I like the aesthetics. Kind of funky. Kind of looks turnip-esque in a way, you know, with the like wackiness. I like it. Looks cool. That's all you need? You get a little box like that? All right, we'll take a look. Maybe we'll check it out sometime. Always down to try new stuff. I have a whole list of games that I'd like to try at some point. Especially easier games to get into where you don't, it's not a big investment, you know? Like miniature or games that you can just, like, are just a rule set where you can 3D print stuff. Let's see if I can do this without it completely being garbage. Ugh. Nobody move a muscle. I can't spend too much time on this. I have a saying that I learned when I was a mechanic, which is not really honestly where you want to learn that phrase. But good enough for government work. You might have gotten YouTube moderated, auto-modded, if it thought you had a link or something, but that's probably what happened, yeah. You probably need, I don't even know how to give you permission on YouTube to post a link. Oh, we need a little black. Gotta do a little squiggle. Or like, make it look like a little attachment pump thing on here. Just do something like that. Doesn't need to be crazy. This isn't going to be the star piece of terrain of the show. Hey, thanks Fox for hanging out. Appreciate it. Hope you have an awesome day. Links can be posted by mods in live chat, I believe. Yeah, you can give permission to people. I know how to do it in Twitch, but it's alright. I'm not too worried about it. It's a general good rule of thumb not to have links in chat unless it's something you know in particular anyway, but I'll tell you what, as a one thing I do is if you guys ever send me a link on Discord, I will never click it. Or Instagram or anything like that. I just avoid links in general. I've seen too many people get their YouTube account or Google account stolen. A lot of the times people with sponsored stuff, they think they're getting a sponsorship. But you gotta be careful out there nowadays. People have an AI writing phishing scams for them or something. Alright. I will shower you in links to ignore. I'll just let YouTube auto-mod do its thing. Yeah, we'll let that handle it. You know what I do need? I need like a piece of newspaper, but whatever. I guess maybe I could use a big piece of cardboard or something. We got Mod Podge and a mix of some grasses, some rocks, some clump foliage, all that jazz. Jesus. I swear this mic cable, dude. It's gonna be the death of me. Yeah, if you want, you're talking about to add as a mod? Yeah. But no, I moderate the own chat. It's fine. It's fine. No links in chat. How about that? That's how that works. Then we don't need to worry about it. There's something called Google. Use it. No politics, no religion, thanks to Clovec, obviously. But that's just a base rule for streaming. And no links. Easy peasy, done. That's how you can avoid all that. Yeah, it's my XLR cable. I don't know what it is. I have to remember to mute my mic before I freaking move it. That's your punishment, Edscar, for your link. It's your chat punishment. Alright. Let's add some color to the bottom of these trees, shall we? Definitely going to make a freaking mess, but you know what? That's part of the fun of it. I want to leave some of the brown exposed. Yeah, I have a lot of automod stuff set up, especially from Twitch, where it used to be a hellscape of bots, and I think still is, but now they gave up on me over there. But I used to get freaking botted all the time when that was pretty popular. Alright. We're going to take a little bit of this clump foliage stuff and just kind of put this on here, as well as some flocking type material. Move that, put the camera in front of the web camera, perfect. Just there for formality, really, the web camera. Then what we could do is shaker. This is a custom little blend I made of some just flocking and grass and leaves and basil leaves and neighbors' dogs are going crazy. That's pretty good though. Just add some color to it, you know what I mean? Yeah, YouTube's been pretty good. You still get, you'll see in very popular YouTube videos, bot comments, which are, I feel like I've been seeing less of them, so hopefully they are doing it. But if you go to like a Moist Critical video, a very popular streamer and just YouTube content creator who talks about stuff, there'll be like you'd see tons of bots, and it's like a woman's ass. The profile picture is like a woman's ass hanging out, and it's like copying a comment or something. And it's very clear. You could just tell it's a bot. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, "Shut up, bot." I don't see those as much, but it's mostly on like very big channels. You'll see that. There needs to be like a certain amount of comments and stuff, and then the bots start targeting in the video. We'll get used to it, dead internet theory, so it's going to be fun. You're not going to know whether the streamer's real, and the streamer's not going to know whether the chat's real. And that's why when Rev tells me AI is just a tool, I tell him, yeah, when I'm in the trenches with Sarah Connor, and you're in the Matrix battery farm, where you're in the, like, you're in the pod, you know, and they're using your heat to like power their drones they're using against us. Just remember, all right? I just want you to remember Rev. Okay? Who fought the good fight? Down with the clankers. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It might be like, I don't know. I think it's going to be sooner than later, though. We'll start seeing, like, the hypothesis of dead internet theory starting to come to fruition. We're already, I mean, half of, like, probably Facebook is all bots commenting on posts and stuff. It seems like bots or something. What a chance of AI getting better over time in dead internet theory, looking like it's going away? I don't know, maybe, but, like, there's always going to be shit versions of stuff, right? There could be a good version of AI, but like there's going to be like the really shitty version made by some like Bangladeshi company or something that's using it to like scam somebody, you know, or whatever. No matter what, I think so. Like, look, I'm vehemently anti-AI with like YouTube content, and like you see a thumbnail and it has that very specific yellow lettering with like the edge working and stuff, you could tell it's AI. Like the second I see that and I see it where it's like super sharpened and like adds all this effects to it and stuff of an image of somebody, what I'm noticing is everybody's thumbnail starts looking the same, whether it's a gaming thumbnail, a car thumbnail, a fishing thumbnail, because I see it in the fly tying world too. Like all the thumbnails now look the same when they're using AI and stuff. So even if it gets to a level where it's so good, I think you're just going to see where everybody's stuff that's using it looks the same. So there's going to be no like originality to it unless they find a way of imparting that. But even right now, I won't click on videos with those AI generated thumbnails because they just, I don't know. They all look the fucking same. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, who cares? So I think whether it could be dead internet theory, but it could be like really good AI, but I still think it's going to be like all fucking AI or something. Because there's always gonna be people that use it for, like, in ways that, they probably shouldn't. Whether it's just leading to just more, noise on the internet or something. Because you can use bots, you can do all sorts of stuff, whatever it may be. I think you're gonna see like you're gonna have to pay for a thing to see if things are AI. There's gonna be a thing where you could pay, and it can detect if stuff's AI. That's going to be like popular in the future. Because already I don't watch TV, like I don't own a cable box, but I've noticed like AI commercials on TV where it's like clearly like a dude that's AI in the commercial. I'm like, really? Like this is like probably who knows how much production or whatever thest companies, but they're just straight up going AI now? Or like the Super Bowl ads and all that? Yeah, that's what I told you. I watch it's called Winds of something. It's this dude that he was started as a guitar teacher making videos about that, but then he started making videos like uncovering people using AI to fake their guitar playing. And he analyzes using audio software to determine whether things are pitch corrected, this and that. And he's mentioned, eventually they're going to start making imperfect music on purpose. But I think it's just going to be a thing where AI is going to constantly try and they're going to constantly try and be able to replicate like how a human creates art, but it's always going to be like, it's never going to be absolutely perfect. You know what I mean? I think you'll be able to generally fool the mass public and stuff, but like if you're a musician and stuff, you can tell a lot of times. Even if it gets to the point where it's perfect, like, you could just feel, So, I don't know. Maybe they'll be able to impart that with AI at some point. They have that Suno music program or something that everyone's using. They were, like, analyzing videos of these, like, rapper producers where they're like, hell yeah, dude. Yo, okay. And he just was like, da, 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 da. And it turned it into, like, a full rap song. And they were like, yo, I just made this shit. This shit's fire. He's like, you didn't make shit. And technically you legally don't own the song. The company that the AI owns that song. So especially with music, you have to be careful with it. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting time that we live in. It's going to be very Orwellian, I think, in multiple ways, and very dystopian, like sort of weird reality where everyone's like inside and never like, I don't know. Wait till we get like Neuralink in your brain and you have like AI built into you and stuff. Like, I don't know. There's going to be weird shit going on in the future. A person can be smart, but people are stupid. It's easy to fool the masses. I mean, just the future will be the movie Idiocracy, but with just more AI, I think. Like Mike Judd was right. He just probably didn't realize. He didn't know about AI as much, but I think there's still AI in that, but it wasn't like as featured as much. But now I think if you made Idiocracy today, or Mike Judd did, there would probably be a lot more AI shit involved where people are just like don't know how to do anything. That's the other thing. I think you're gonna find out people don't know how to do anything because they just constantly ask ChatGPT how to do everything in their life. Like, there are people that actually genuinely live their life right now where they're like, Chat GPT, how do I cook a chicken breast? Shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, technically, AI companies were trying to own, like, well, we came up with this AI, so we can copyright it, but I think they made it to where no, or I think in EU, I think it actually, or was it American? I forgot where. But I think some court ruled that no, you can't copyright it because essentially AI is just stealing anyway. So, you know, like, I forgot the way they ruled on it, but it was very ironic that AI companies that steal from all of us in everyday life to fuel their algorithms and stuff, they can't, they want to copyright what AI creates. But meanwhile, it's all based off of what we create, so I think they weren't able to. I'm sure they eventually will be able to. Like I said, music-wise, you got to be careful. You won't own the music and stuff. So if you're like a musician trying to use those programs. And if you just feed it your stuff, who's to say it can't just use your stuff either? You know what I mean? Because once you feed it in there, it's got access to your stuff. I always find that people think AI is thinking, but it's just some point scoring parameters. You score points by doing X, Y, Z, and then you could score the most points. Yeah, it's just I don't think it's I don't think we're going to get to the point to where there's like sentient AI, like Red Ball Terminator style. I think it's just going to be, like Rev says, a tool that people use, but it's just going to dumb down humanity, you know? It's like how calculators, you know, say people, well, you're not going to know math if you just use a calculator. You have to be able to do it. We used to hear that like back in the day. Well, what if you don't have a calculator? Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But I know my stance on it. You will never see me use AI in any video, any thumbnail, anything like that. I sat down and I recorded a guitar track, recorded bass, recorded a guitar solo, and mixed the whole thing. It took like a day or two. For like that Gaslands video, got 130 views. But I'd rather have my own guitar track that I like am happy with and stuff than having AI generate me a track, you know what I mean? So you will never see me use that stuff. And even if that means it's the death of my YouTube channel, who knows? It might be in the future if it just pushes all this crap. But I think YouTube's pretty good at, they've been doing a good job. They got feedback where people are like, yeah, maybe don't force AI on us like in 24/7. How about that? Though if your YouTube short pops off, it gets a certain amount of views, they put an AI filter on it. If you've ever looked at a very popular YouTube short and it looks weird. Maybe you've seen like World War II footage in a short. You'll see AI does a filter. Rick Batio actually figured it out. He's a musical producer. In one of his YouTube shorts, there was this weird thing going on. People were like, oh, it's fake guitar playing. He's like, no, YouTube, for some reason, has an AI filter they put on YouTube shorts that get over a certain amount of views. It's like this weird sharpening and smoothing effect they use. And it like morphs people's fingers and stuff. I learned math on an abacus. Hell yeah, Rev would be proud. Rev is a dedicated abacus user. He loves himself a good abacus. I think that's the biggest catch. AI as we know it cannot create anything new itself. It always need an actual mind to create something new into existence. Yeah, but I mean, it's got so much stuff to work with. If you just feed it all of humanity, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, you can use it, and you could turn into another AI fucking unoriginal thing, or you could do your own thing. So, I'm choosing to do my own thing. When I could easily probably take so much time away from all of my video editing, thumbnail making, all this stuff. I could add in crazy cinematics of Firefly and stuff like that, but I can't. I refuse. And like I said, I think in the future, it'll be so saturated with AI stuff that people will look for the non-AI stuff. People already are doing that. Look at Instagram and stuff. Or look at all the history channels on YouTube that have to put not AI in their thumbnail. You know what I mean? Because there's so much AI slop content on YouTube now. Especially in science and history and things like that. That's straight up ripping off other content creators. I actually watched some dude. I forgot who it was. Who was it? I don't remember what topic, but was it a guitar video? It was him, and it was somebody like was uploading his videos where they just used AI to replace him, but it was his exact videos. I forgot who it was though. And he found it. He's like, "What the hell is this?" Oh, it's Rhett Shull, guitar player guy. Yeah, and they were posting on Instagram, but they just used AI to completely replace him and just uploaded his videos and monetized it. He's like, "YouTube, what the hell is this, bro? Are you guys gonna allow this or?" So like, it's hilarious. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Who knows? I'm getting older though, so the older I get, the more I hate new stuff. You know what I mean? Like an old man should. So I'm just doing what I'm supposed to. AI? What the hell? I don't want to stupid AI. Those damn kids and their AI phones. The trees speak Texan. That's right. What's going on, Jenny Bratz? Hey, we painted up Texaco pumps. Speaking of Texans. I think Texaco's like a Texas gas company originally, right? I saw an AI thumbnail that had no AI disclaimer on it, except it didn't say no AI. It was just a jumble of letters. Yep. I think if you make content, you're going to see it's going to be a disaster landscape in the next 10 to 20 years. It's going to be great. I can't wait. I made a great choice in my life. But I think we'll be alright. I think I'll be alright. All I want in the world is for Cosmic to record a real octopus song. Okay? I think, you know what? I think me and him are going to duet of the octopus song. I was thinking about it the other day. I'll just record the audio or the vocals for the octopus song. I am an octopus. But you know what? I figured, no. We'll duet it. Alright? I'll get him on Discord. I'll have him record it, and then I'll record it. Alright? None of this AI slop octopus song, okay? I'll re-record all the instrumentals, and we'll do it right. The way it should be. In reality, though, it's... What do you call it? Because he wrote it, if I'm not wrong, so... The DNA is Cosmic's. It's the execution. You'll watch that? Okay, good. I'll fly him out to Long Island, and we'll get him to my buddy's studio. My buddy has a studio here, and we'll re-record the octopus song with, like, a good production. I am an octopus. And then the best part is, Morty and Glory will have to listen to it. Because, you know, he's already like, all right, octopus song, you know. But then he'll have to listen to me and Cosmic singing the song every single time. But you know how much more special it would be if it was, like, a Cosmic singing it, you know? The human emotion. My buddy has a full recording studio. That's where the Slam & Core's on the back. He mixed it. The Halloween music video that I've shown you guys, we recorded that. But now he has, like, it's in the back of a plumbing warehouse store. It's a huge, like, almost like barn. But he has drums. He has all of his recording equipment. It's a full recording studio. It's probably like fucking $150,000 worth of equipment or something. He's a plumber, so he puts all his money into his music stuff. Yeah, plumbers make a hell of a lot of money. If you don't mind getting covered in shit, you can make a ton of money because I helped them plumb. Yeah, what's going on, Valor? How's it going? I've heard the octopus, the number of times. I've heard it more times than I've wanted to. I'm sure I lose IQ every time. Yeah, but that's the thing, dude. You're going to actually... You're losing IQ, but you're gaining EQ. That's the difference. But you're right. The AI version sucks your soul out of you. The duet version between me and Cosmic will rejuvenate your soul. It's like going to a Swedish resort where they have hot springs. Morting's your spirit animal? Mm-hmm. So you like wearing, bathrobes and yelling at your computer monitor all day? Morting's awesome. He's great. I lurk in his streams sometimes. I don't watch all the time because he does a lot. He's been 40K'ing it up a lot. And I literally like try and watch like anything about 40K and I'm just like immediately like uninterested. It's funny. I fully converted myself to a non-Warhammer miniature wargamer. I don't know what happened, but you know, it happened at some point. Keep your EQ. Yeah, the EQ is what counts, dude. You could be low IQ, high EQ. The best is high IQ, high EQ, but that's rare. That's rare, you know? In fact, probably rather be a low IQ, high EQ than high EQ, low EQ, because you'll probably get more friends. You know what I mean? People will find you a little bit more tolerable. They'll invite you out to go drinking or something. Looking good, though. Looking good. We're getting our trees all based. I'm trying to think what else I need to get done for the game tonight. I mean, this is pretty much it. Pretty much it. I got all the terrain stuff. Probably just some little finishing touches I'll do off stream. I do want to apply some more watered down glue mixture to the big board piece I made, just to make sure it's nice, and these as well. That's why I wanted to stream a little early, because I need to go outside and spray all this stuff while it's still sunny so it doesn't get all like soggy and stuff. I'm going to spray the trees one more time. These were already sprayed with PBA glue mix. But I've been using some Mod Podge watered down mix, and that is way more effective, it seems like. I like it a little bit more than just PBA glue mix. I do need to spray like all this stuff with like a matte varnish eventually or something, but... So we'll get all these done, and then I'm going to go do this stuff off stream. Tomorrow we record Pre-Invasion Amerika. I gotta come up with a different titles because I use the thumbnail option on YouTube, but I think I have a couple ideas. Sounds like your channel. Using EQ and doing the bare minimum my job asked me to do has always landed me in top positions over the years. There you go. You know, my boss used to say this when I was a mechanic, work smarter, not harder. But then when I would do that, he's like, well, oh, no. We would say that to him. This is what it was. This is how funny. This is when you know you got to quit your job, dude. We'd say, I'm working smarter, not harder. What do you mean? Like, you're right. I could strip this entire fender off, but instead I'm taking this one thing off and I'm able to get access to it. So I'm working smarter, not harder. He's like, or something. I forgot. It was like something we were like sweeping. It was something. He's like, well, why wouldn't you want to work smarter and harder? You should be working smarter and harder. Do you ever think about that? And I was like, all right, well, it's been like 4.5 years, 5 years here. I'm gonna just not care and wait till he fires me. You ever think about working smarter and harder? You could do both. You ever think about that? And I remember me and my coworker looked at each other and we were like, Jesus Christ. We also found out he was not paying us properly, and all my coworkers brought him to court and sued him after I quit. And they all got like thousands of dollars. They were trying to get me to join. I was like, I want nothing to do with that asshole. But I got my learned my chops as a mechanic there, so I pretty much was able to bang out B-Tech jobs pretty easily and make money. But unfortunately, my back was after a while I learned, yeah, I'm not gonna be doing this that much longer. But I was a mechanic for like I think like 8 years or so, 8 or 9 years. Typical boss. There's some, you get some good ones over the years, but yeah, I've learned it's best to just work for yourself if you can. And I've learned, you know what? I'll be broke, but I'm gonna be happy. So that's fine. That's what I do. I'll be a YouTuber or make YouTube videos for a couple different topics, a couple different channels, and I'll just tie my flies and sell to shops, guides, and businesses and stuff and people. Make enough to survive, and what do you call it? Fuck dealing with all that stuff. Ain't buying a new truck anytime soon, but you know, that's alright. Who needs a new truck? I ain't going anywhere. Obviously, not everyone's able to do that, so. Alright. Let's keep going. We're gonna crank all these out. Oh my god, I'm making a freaking mess. For the most part, I got them pretty good, but once they dried, they were nice. But for a while, these things were hazardous. They were just falling apart left and right. It's going to be a Japanese and Russian invasion separately. I don't think they'll be working together. We hypothesized, we talked about it. In fact, I was going to do a joint thing where the Russians, there was a small Russian liaison or advisor group with the Japanese. But the Japanese and the Russians hate each other. They were fighting for so long. I can't see them working together. I think even they would just still attack each other. So, what do you call it? I don't think they're going to be working together, but it's going to, the Soviets are seizing the opportunity to attack the Americans. Probably try and take Alaska back. This is what they'll do. They'll pull a Crimea. They're going to be like, we are annexing Alaska because we sold it to you for like $50 years ago, but it's actually Russian land and we're going to take it. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try and take back Alaska, I bet you. I don't know if they're going to go for a full-fledged invasion into the lower 48, you know, or whatever. But I think they're going to go for Alaska at the bare minimum. They might stop at Canada. I don't know. Maybe they go to war with Canada. I don't know. And the rest of the allies, I guess. Will Canada help? You know, or are they just going to be eating maple syrup and fake Canadian bacon? Or what? We also need, like, a Canadian army in conflict. I know they already have just, like, they're part of the allies, but I would love to see, like, I would love to know what's going on with the Canadians, because you have a lot of Canadian bolt action stuff, you know? That'd be cool. Maybe they'll let us know with the Australians and the New Zealanders and all that in one shot. Russo-Japanese war still happened. That's what, I mean, I loved the idea that they were working together, and then we talked about it enough, and we were like, yeah, there's no way. They were fighting for so long, and they just were so much beef previously. I don't see them, and it's just two different ideologies in opposing countries that both see, like, things differently, you know? I don't see them working together. If you go into the mind of, like, Stalin, he probably would love to try and work with the Japanese temporarily to gain a foothold and then just attack the Japanese at the right time, like he, you know, like how he played the Austrian painter guy. But, what do you call it? I don't think the Japanese would... I think they're probably still on their, like, domination mindset. The Japanese did, obviously, have some cooperation with, like, you know, the Axis and stuff, but They were always kind of doing their own thing. Pretty sure the Soviets are going to use local communist forces. There was a decent amount in Alaska. God damn, bro. McCarthy was right. We need the McCarthy era to speed up. Get these goddamn commies out of the country. Did they, I wonder, are they covering that in the conflict lore? Because what? The McCarthy era and the fear of communism wasn't until after World War II, right? But now we're, like, kind of there. I mean, it was more so probably, like, Korean, and, like, we kind of realized how the Soviets and, like, the Chinese and the communist threat and how communism, because at that point communism is, like, really starting to spread. I'm sure they'll find some way, but I think it's just they're going to be the freaking Russians' attack. I don't know if they'll do anything like that, but that could be interesting. That could be something. That's a good way of you incorporating fun on your table. You know what I mean? I don't think there probably were a lot of communists in Alaska, though. I'll tell you that much. Though there probably were criminals and stuff. Some people that do go to Alaska go there for a reason. You can kind of escape for multiple reasons. But if you were living in Alaska in the 1940s, God, you probably were like a badass. I'll tell you that much. God knows what sort of job you were doing. You're probably like gold mining or freaking lumberjack or whaling or whatever sort of crap they were doing out there. Definitely wouldn't have been easy work, I'll tell you. Only thing Canada will end up doing is blowing wildfire smoke plumes towards the conflict. Same with the Anzacs. Oh my God, here's a great idea. This is something I need to do. I need local militias. Dude, local militias. I need like 1940s American guys, like regular civilians and like farmers and stuff with rifles. Because you know 100% if something happened, like, and the Japanese showed up out of nowhere, people would be grabbing their guns and fighting with soldiers. In 1947? Are you kidding me? There'd be dudes with shotguns and, like, there would be World War II veterans that brought home their rifles. Because there are World War II veterans that brought home, like, you know, German weapons and stuff and all sorts of stuff and were able to keep it. So, you know, there would be, like, retired vets and just, like, regular U.S. folks that have guns in their house, which there's a lot of people with guns in the U.S., even probably in the 40s, that would just straight up, like, you could have inexperienced militiamen groups of, like, just U.S. citizens. I definitely got to work on that for the official invasion of America. I'm not going to do that for tomorrow, because I don't have any American citizens with, like, shotguns and rifles. But I got to find some, like, 40s, 50s looking guys with guns and use those as, like, citizens. Citizen militia, you know? Not partisans, because it would be, like, partisans are, like, you know, I guess you could have partisans or whatnot, but isn't partisans technically a term for, like, if you're, like, an occupied area and you're, like a resistance or something? This would be more like a home defense or, like, a National Guard or something sort of thing. Or, like, how I think in Poland they have a thing where, like, as a civilian you can go and get, like, military training. So like, Russia invades Poland, you could just help in the fight, you know? Stuff like that. Certain countries have programs like this. Because in the U.S. we have in the Constitution, you know, part of the Second Amendment is, like, you know, the well-trained militia and all that. So it kind of makes sense that we did something like that for the U.S. in conflict. It fits into the, I feel like, lore. I need to show you my Union Man. He's a U.S. dock worker with a flat cap and a shotgun from one of the U.S. sprues. Yeah, I bet you there's games, and I bet you there's STL files I could find for, like, 1940s, 50s. You could probably find, like, maybe not gangsters, but you could find, I'm sure, something, like, for that era. I already have some, like, 40s, like a detective in, like, a trench coat and, like, a his some girl that like was helping him solve a case or whatever I used for RPG game. So I know there's stuff like that. I'm sure I could find just like civilians. I could always kit bash them to have a gun if I need to, but I just want it to be like timeline accurate, you know, looking. This part we need to reglue. This part was too heavy. I think what happened is it ended up ungluing when I sprayed it and soaked it. See if we can kind of just cover it up slightly. Okay, a little bit of grass on there. I own a musket for home defense because that's what the Constitution says. There was a YouTube short I saw recently where it was like Second Amendment home defense the way the forefathers wanted it, and he had a freaking musket. He shoots the first dude, and like he's like, I shoot the first dude, it blows a fist-sized hole in his chest. I immediately affix bayonet, or no, he's like, I immediately run back, and he like runs upstairs. He's got a cannon loaded, and there's two guys. He's like, I got the cannon filled with scatter shot. I take out the second guy with the cannon. He's like, shoots the cannon, and the third guy, he's like, I affix bayonet and charge. Yeah, you know that. And he goes, triangular bayonet wounds are impossible to suture, so he's gonna be dead on arrival once the paramedics show up. It's so funny. Oh god, perfect. Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need. Musket, bayonet, and particularly a cannon with like, you know, some sort of scatter, like a bunch of forks inside or something at the top of your stairs. M13 Vulcan counts as a musket? Yeah, something like that. That's good enough. My buddy, actually, one of my buddies that I deer hunted with, had a black powder musket he used for black powder rifle. He used for hunting deer out here. You break into a wrong house on Long Island, you might get a black powder musket through the ass. It's probably gonna be a shotgun though, or a pistol more than likely. A lot of duck hunters out here. Get this all cleaned up. This looks good. We were talking about it yesterday. There's nothing better than just going and shooting like 1,000 rounds at the range. It's like the most fun you can have in life. It's just so expensive. That's what me and Rev used to do. For like my birthday, we'd go to the range. We'd bring an entire box of shotgun rounds, which I mean a box, I mean a case of boxes. And we'd get 2 boxes of clay skeet, or the clays, the pigeons. And we'd just shoot shotguns for like 8 hours. And that was what we'd do in December for my birthday for years. Flamethrower doesn't need a license. The problem is, you're in your house. Maybe if you're in the basement and you got really tall ceilings and you don't catch the insulation on fire. But that's a problem. We don't live in Eastern Europe where everything's made of like brick, you know? It's grape shot. Yeah, grape shot, not scatter shot. Grape shot is the appropriate terminology. Thank you. But, I mean, look, you can take a blunderbuss, you just put a bunch of, like, random crap in there. It'll shoot out. You can put, like, some forks and crap in there. You just shoot whatever the hell you want. You ain't got no rifling. Yeah, you need to think about collateral damage when you're thinking about home defense. No Barrett 50 cals, because you don't want it to go into the next 3 blocks. No flamethrowers. Mortars don't work unless, I guess, maybe you have a hole in your roof. You gotta rule out your options. Howitzer, probably a little overkill. You know what I mean? Even like a 30 cal, you know, you're probably gonna end up like going through at least a couple houses worth of sheetrock. That is one of the issues. God forbid, dude. If anything ever happens, let's hope nothing ever does, where war ever finds itself coming to American soil. Our houses are made out of freaking paper mache. They're just wood, sheetrock, and insulation. I've watched enough combat footage from modern day wars to know if you ain't living in some sort of stone-made house, like, you're fucked, dude. Even then. And, like, our basements, well, like, what's the basement gonna do? It's literally insulation above you. We're fucked. That's why they had freaking fallout shelters in the 50s, because all our houses are, like, made out of wood. Like Eastern Europe and all these places, and the Middle East, they all have like stone or brick, you know, they use. We're freaking screwed. So yeah, little not joking thing, don't shoot a freaking you gotta, if someone does break in your house and you're in a state you could defend yourself legally, don't shoot like a freaking rifle in your house or something. You shoot through like every single wall in your house. Claymores, or airbags. Now we're talking airbags and marbles. Just have a very enticing seat with a airbag from a BMW setup to a battery, and when he sits on it, it launches him up into the ceiling, knocks him out. Yep. A Glock 19 and a shotgun work best for post-apocalyptic America spare parts. Oh yeah. Like, what's the most common thing you're gonna find? You're gonna find like the 3 shotguns they sell at like Dick's and Walmart or something, like at the Remingtons, the what is it, the Browning, and then there's the one that I use, which is like the cheapest shotgun they sell. It's like you can use all the accessories from an 870 or something on it, I think. And then you got ARs, which they're all literally compatible with an AR-15 platform. So you are going to be able to, if post-apocalyptic zombie future happens, or more than likely some sort of like world-ending event, and you have to like scavenge the streets and fight off like raiders, you're actually, if you know where to look, you'll be able to survive for sure. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I think they have to acknowledge the fact that Americans are going to be picking up guns and fighting Japanese and Russians. You know what I mean? Because what happens when they go to some small town America place? You know what I mean? Are you telling me the U.S. is going to have enough manpower and logistics to make sure that every single fight is done professionally by U.S. soldiers? Like, there's going to have to be times where they have like local militias form up and like fight off to, you know, stop the town from getting overrun and the Soviets from like executing all the men or something in the town or something. You know, there's gonna be some crazy thing going on. I hope they're like, you know, they have a scenario or something, or they at least mention in the lore how like there's a shit ton of guns in the U.S. even in 1940. You know what I mean? People hunting, you know, livestock, you know, what do you call it? Protection stuff. There's ranchers, you know, everything, whatever. Dudes with like what's it called? Lever action rifles and stuff in like Montana, like fighting off the Japanese. Like ranchers on like horseback. Oh dude, that'd be so freaking cool. I really want a Conflict 47 skirmish version, because then you could do all that cool shit where you got like a cowboy on a horse in like Montana fighting like a couple Japanese guys on a little board. I just haven't figured out like how to convert it into skirmish rules while keeping it the same game, because you could just play one-page rules, but I really want a skirmish version of Conflict. I don't think it's a general invasion. I think it's going to be more of a limited objective smash and grab. Yeah, I don't think they're going to necessarily try and take the entirety of the United States, but I bet you they're going to try and seize land or something or do stuff. What, you go over there to just blow stuff up? I wouldn't be surprised the Japanese, they do like, they have that imperial mindset of taking land and stuff. So I do see them trying to maybe seize like the West Coast or areas in the West Coast. You know what I mean? Because, like, they did plan to invade America, you know? Originally in World War II, like, they had ideas about it and stuff. And then they were like, yeah, fuck this. And they were just sending, like, weather balloons with bombs. And they were just blowing up in, like, Canada and shit. But I think they are... I don't think it's just gonna be like, oh, let's go blow up this one, like, base, and let's take out this one thing, and then we'll leave. I think it is they are gonna try and stay in America, but they're not gonna, like, try and go all the way to Washington or something, if that's... Yeah. But I think they are gonna try and, like, take land. In Invasion America, the Japanese will have to take Midway, Hawaii, and most of the Pacific before invading America, unless it's just raids. Yeah, it might just be raids, but, you know, they also have, like, freaking teleportation technology, so, like, I don't know. Who knows how they go about it. Maybe they have some new technology and they just sweep through the Pacific like it's nothing. Or maybe they just have a ghost fleet of Navy or something, or submarines or planes. They're able to, like, just straight up bypass all that nonsense and just blow the shit up and then just invade the United States. It's a very limited scope book. I gotcha. Well, you know what? That's even better. Let them barely touch on it, and then we can make all the cool videos and come up with all the cool ideas anyway, so... If they want to do it to where it's like a couple Soviet missions, a couple Japanese stuff, mostly in the Pacific, Hawaii, this and that, and there's like one fight in the United States or two, that's totally okay. But I'm going to take it to the next fucking level, I'll tell you that much. We already had Japan invading Alaska, like freaking 2 months into conflict coming out. If the new units are accurate, to their invasion force, it's Ghost Warriors attacks, and my guess is Area 51, because that's where the Rift portal is. Ah, interesting. Yeah, they have the teleportation technology, so who knows? Maybe my ideas are too grandiose, I suppose. We got 2 more, and then we're good, and I can go eat some food. Woohoo! It's getting hot in here. Is not on the scale of Festoon Europa? Yeah, gotcha. Well, that's kind of... it. I hope there's at least as many missions as Festoon Europa. You're saying it's not on the scale in terms of how the lore is, with how the Axis and, like, how it's covering the fights between the Soviets, the Americans, the British, all over the place. Or are you talking about they said there's not going to be as many, like... there's not going to be as much content in it. You mean, like, the scope of the actual, where it is happening, right? Is that what you're talking about? Don't tell me it's gonna be, like, a fucking smaller book or something. Alright, let's add in our... we still have to do Festoon Europa, too, at some point. I made that freaking Strimreese. But Invasion America is kind of taking over. I also hope it's not... I mean, I don't mind if they have some Soviet stuff, but I really want it to mostly focus on the Japanese. Because Japanese players need, like, all the cool shit they can get. There's been a lot of focus on other factions. I'm sure it'll be good no matter what. And if they don't do something, then I can just do it myself. Scope of the war, yeah. Gotcha. Alright, well, we'll see. I'm excited for it. No matter what, we're going to get a sick campaign book and new units, so... however they handle the Japanese invading America, I think they'll do a good job. Though, I am 100% going to do it ourselves, where it's like... some crazy battles and ideas we have for different places in the U.S. just to make it more interesting, even if it didn't happen in the book. You know what I mean? Because according to us, the Japanese have already been to America, so it's official in my lore. In Mike Rolls Dice lore, the Japanese have already made landfall a couple of times. Oh, how I loathe tree making. Yep, I know. You know, it like starts out, you're like, oh, it's cool. And then by the last one, you're like, whew, thank God I'm done with this shit, man. At least I'm not making too much of a mess this time. But I will say, yeah, this is like, from the start to finish of cutting the woodland scenic spruce out and basing them, and then trying to figure out how to build like layer up before I did the clump foliage. These definitely took me a little while. But I will say these look way better than like 3D printed trees that we use, because they just have that look, you know? So it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, but my God, it did take a little while to do these. It wasn't terrible. Just compared to some other terrain projects you could find yourself doing. But I hope you're doing well. We're wrapping up our trees here. We got our Invasion America terrain ready for the Japanese invading the United States in conflict. I'll take a look at the Discord here before we wrap up the stream, because we've been streaming for a little bit now. It's getting hot in here with all this crap, so I'm going to go eat some food after the stream. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get back to, I have to finish, I'll let all this dry. I have to spray this with like PBA glue or Mod Podge and water to lock it down with all the flocking and static grass or whatever. And I want to finish up that big terrain piece. I gotta glue that up a couple more times as well. I always end up with my last trees looking better than the first one. Yeah, you kind of get into the groove. I feel that. I feel like it took me a while to get the hang of like how I wanted the foliage to sit on the branches, and then I'm like, okay, this looks way more natural. That's how it is with some miniatures I paint as well. I think that's anything, right? Because I do a lot of fly tying here on the channel. I do it professionally, and like, when you think of that, like with tying flies or making lures or whatever you're doing, it's definitely repetition definitely helps. But it's funny how when you're doing a project, you can, like you said, get into the groove. And even with my fly tying, sometimes some of the flies at the start, when I started tying a big order of flies, the ones at the end look like super crisp and clean because I'm just so dialed in at that point. Especially when you're making like 20 fucking trees at a time, you kind of get into like a little zen state when you're just like watching a video or listening to music, and you're kind of just, it's not like, my brain isn't really firing on all cylinders while I'm sitting here and doing this, you know? I'm just kind of getting into a little flow state, like you said. In my homebrew lore with Cosmic, in our game group, the world is hollow. Oh yeah, I saw you guys did the Hollow Earth game. Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I mean. Like, some people think it's like a bad thing that Conflict doesn't have as well written lore as 40k. I kind of see it as a good thing, because it gives me the freedom to do whatever I want with videos and not have some rules, some lore lawyer be like, actually Sanguinius never held that blade. Like, god damn it, let me just have fun with my toys. That's one of the reasons with bolt action too, I was a little nervous, because like people would be like, oh no, you can't use that tank because in 1943 no US Army platoon used that tank. You know what I mean? There is that somewhat kind of stigma behind bolt action, I feel like, at times. So the great thing about Conflict is, like, I always tell people, oh, you want to have Canadian geese in your army? Oh, you want to have freaking monkeys? Yeah, go for it, 100%. There's a reason why they call it Weird War. If somebody has freaking vampires and somebody's got, like, werewolves, they can't look at you and be like, you can't have monkeys. Be like, you got a fucking werewolf, dude. You can't tell me I can't have Canadian geese. Let me do what I want, all right? I know somebody said they did a Canadian geese army for their Canadians or something, and I was like, oh my god, I absolutely love that. So that's a great thing about conflict. It gives, I feel like there's a little bit more freedom in how you can kind of just play the game and like in your mind be like, oh, this is happening right now. Like B for Birdie is, you know, fighting Drugov on this thing, even though it like never happened technically or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not so well defined, the lore, that you can just kind of navigate it yourself, you know? Canadian geese wouldn't need to be genetically modified to be fearless. Oh my god, true. I hope whoever has Canadian geese, I think they're using them like a Cerebus squad or something, I think is what it was. They were using geese or something. So they would be fearless, so that makes perfect sense. But yeah, like you could... Their special ability is you throw breadcrumbs at the enemy and the geese just fucking tear them to shreds. If you've ever been a kid. First off, it took me a while to learn this, but don't give bread to any birds. Seagulls, geese, anything. Bread actually causes birds' bones to become like weak over time, and they can't actually fly. So there's a bunch of geese and swans in parks around America that have like wing deficiencies because people give them bread. But you can give them seeds if you want to give them stuff and stuff like that. Don't give them breadcrumbs or bread. But we used to give them bread back in the day at the wildlife refuge we went to, and they ended up teaching us that you're not supposed to because they had geese that weren't able to fly anymore. But I'll never forget when you're a little kid and the first time you get freaking charged by like 20 full-grown Canadian geese while you have bread, and they just like, they're freaking biting you. They rip the bag out of your hand. They like knock you. It's like getting attacked by velociraptors. You know what I mean? Yeah, one old lady with a bag, like the pigeon lady in the pigeon lady in Home Alone. She's fucking throwing the breadcrumbs. That'd be so good, dude. Oh my god, you're totally right. The fearless thing, though, that was such a great call. Oh, that's so funny. What are you using for the bases? So this is what is this called specifically? This is cardboard stock or something. Or, yeah, this is like, you know, it's like the, I learned this from terrain builders. They use this as like a basing material because regular cardboard's pretty hollow, so it'll like warp. This can also warp if you get it really wet, but it's much more stable and it's pretty heavy duty. I think it's cardboard stock, or it's like a paper stock or something like that. I'll see if I can figure out the exact name, but I remember like watching Black Magic Craft or just different hobby guys. They were using that for the basing of their stuff. Don't feed ducks corn. If you have a shotgun on you, Mr. Green Jeans doesn't like it. Okay. Oh, yeah, well then, don't do that because you're, what do you call it? You're baiting. Yeah, like you technically can't feed deer and stuff like that. But this is like in a park. Wildlife ranger's not gonna... There's no law against feeding a geese bread. And maybe if you have a shotgun, then yeah. Yeah, baiting's illegal in New York, which is great because they have baiting in like southern states. And that's one of the reasons why chronic wasting disease is so bad in deer. It's a freaking disease that they can't get in check because they have these like salt licks and big corn piles. And it's very easy for deer to spread the chronic wasting disease to each other. So that's one of the reasons they don't have baiting and things like that here in New York. Also because they think it's unethical, and I'm all for it. I think it is an unethical way to shoot or hunt, because hunting is not only like a obviously way to get food, but it's also like there's morality and ethics to hunting in the way that you conduct yourself as a proper hunter. Otherwise, you're pretty much a poacher at that point, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. If it's a corn farm, if it's fallen corn, technically it's like a weird loophole thing, right? You know what I mean? But, you know, that's a little different, though. I'm totally okay with that, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know. That's just like, I guess you just have a freaking primetime spot in reality. It'd be like making it illegal to hunt around... white oak trees, you know what I mean, or something like that. I get it. I'm all for not hunting around bait anyway in general, but I feel like if you get invited to go in Iowa to go hunting and the guy just milled the corn, and the corn's all over the place. Yeah, you got a week or two you can hunt. I think it's fine or something. It's late o'clock. I'll see you later. Alrighty. Hey, thanks, Scar. Appreciate it. Yeah, we got them all done, chat. Let's take a look real quick. Can I put this in a bag? Let me do that, so I don't waste any of this stuff. And then we'll take a look at what we got done today, and we'll take a look at the Discord real quick. If you guys got any minis you want to post them in there. I'm going to take a look. So we got our general store, our gas station. I got to make these signs all dirty. I'm going to add washers to them. Radar dishes, Texaco pump, windmills, all that jazz. And then we got all of our trees, which I got to go spray these before it gets dark. While the sun's still out, it's going to dry them out nice, but check it out. Damn, that looks so much better like that. Look how much better that looks with the green on there. On the basing, that looks great. Hell yeah. I just want to set up the board with George Washington and just have him like take a bunch of cool photos with him hanging out there, you know what I mean? That's going to be a video coming out soon, so keep your eyes posted. Kip Bash and George Washington. All right, let's take a look at the Discord real quick before we wrap it up. And then I'm going to go and eat something. I have video editing to do. I have some more terrain stuff to finish to get ready for tomorrow's game. And tomorrow we are recording our very own pre-invasion America. And I believe our first sponsored video on the channel. Ah! Stupid microphone cable. All right, let's take a look. Shame on me for moving the mic. Shame. All right, where did we leave off? We got to take a look. Yeah, Cosmic posted this. So when's the last time we streamed? I just want to make sure we've seen everybody's stuff. I think we'll start here. God damn it. Stupid mic. All right. Sean, Killer Robot. Love the flowers on there. Motivated by his buddy. Very nice. I like the color scheme looks pretty cool. I like it. It's interesting. Sponsor. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. It's a place in the U.S. to get conflict, so. This looks sick. I gotta get some, I just gotta get on Amazon some trees like this, because that's what these are, from the looks of it. They work completely fine, you know? Like, you could totally get away with just these plastic ones. Knocked Albin look great. Yeah, board looks cool. I love the train tracks, too. But see what I mean? I gotta get matte like this. This looks more like, I feel like World War II appropriate. Even though it's not a farm one. You get the idea, though. So, 3,000 point game I saw between you guys. The Russians and the Axis. And the Soviets ended up breaking through with their tanks and their men, right? Seemed like, Jenny? Oh, man. These guys are sick. Let's take a look. Of course, Cosmic's just got like such a crazy hodgepodge of different miniatures. There's this Shrek Wolfen with the cloaks. He used the crazy black paint. Oh, the Bat Rep should be coming next week. I'll make sure to take a look when your buddy releases it. Yeah, here's his cloaked Shrek Wolfen. And he's like some sort of like... Are these Moraz Ghoul? What are these? Are these your Moraz Ghoul? Like custom Moraz Ghouls? I never know what the hell I'm looking at with you guys, because you guys do so much crazy cool stuff. There's the famous paint can, or super glue cap walker. They are Moraz Ghouls, yeah. I could tell from the blue. You did a good job. I was able to tell what they are. Damn, these guys are crazy. Are these your bears? Are these like saurian lizard men? These are sick. Oh my god, I just realized you could definitely use Saurians as like Shrek Wolfen if you did some sort of... I don't know where you would do it though. You would need... Who would you would use lizard men for? Maybe some South American country or something? Somewhere where there's prevalent reptiles. Or use crocodiles as the Australians, and you use gators if you're a Floridian. Ah, very nice. Look, board looks great. Wow, look at all the terrain too. That's cool. Is this all terrain that like the store has? Look at that board too. That board looks sick. Huh. An Egyptian army? Yeah, you could use it wherever there's crocs, right? Because I have literal crocodile Shrek Wolfen looking dudes from One Page Rules that are sick. Alright, very nice. Oh shit. Stupid mic, dude. I gotta figure out this cable. What the hell's going on? And we got George. Fuck yeah. I think I did a good job. Ain't no squig herder Sean. But decent enough. Enough to where I'm happy with the video. I'll make a video on it. I won't just delete everything. I use the AK mud terrain stuff. Rev gave me an old one that's like all dried up, and I just put a bunch of water in there. It's good to go. Derelict with the nice Lord of the Rings dice tower. Hell yeah, dude. Looks sick. I don't like dice towers. That does look sick. Well, you know why I don't like dice towers? They're too fucking noisy, dude. I've ran like TTRPG games where one of my players had a dice tower, and every time they rolled the dice, like it's just too damn loud. And this is what we made. This is what I have drying outside. I need to spray it with more glue, but check it out. So this is going to be in the game tomorrow. So it's a new piece for the table. It's like 4 foot long, 2 foot depth, you know, or wide or whatever. Flocked it, painted it up. So we'll see. Probably put some satellite dishes up here and some small shacks. Maybe we'll put hunting shacks, those small shacks or something. Oh, your NCR army. Very nice. BAR. Hell yeah. That's alright, the quality. Nice. Oh, those guys look sick. Ah, is that Roberta Wells or something? It looks like it, right? Yeah, it's got to be Roberta Wells. Nice, nice. Looking good. I like it. That's sick right there. Oh, shit, he's got a power fist. That's awesome. This is what I love. Like, you could totally do, like, some weird shit like this, like the NCR in California, or some sort of faction like that, you know? Or something. That's so cool. That's why I love conflict. So nice. I mean, you could do that in any game. You're not restricted, but I just love that there's... I feel like you have so much personal freedom with this game to do weird stuff because of the weird war tag. The weird war thing just gives you permission to go weird, which is why I really love this game. No other game would I ever have thought about putting feathers on models and saying that they have emu genetics. You know what I mean? The transfer sheets are from Etsy. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Well, chat, what do you call it? Counts as bears till my box arrive. Oh, they're death claws. Oh, they're death claws. Okay. You want to see more ass ghouls? I think you could find those STLs on my mini factory if you look hard enough. They're actually really easy to find, the more ass ghouls, if you're looking. It's a whole army. Just thick ghouls. It's a war band, in fact. But anyways, chat, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you folks for tuning on in. We do have, what do you call it? We have a George Washington kit bash and paint that I'm going to be editing this weekend. It'll probably come out some point next week. We have our pre-invasion Amerika that we're filming tomorrow, so I'm going to be editing that. That'll be probably, I have to figure out, but that'll maybe late next week or something like that. We'll see. I got to figure out when I want to release it. It's going to be somewhat soon, though. It's not going to take too long, even though it's going to take a while to edit, but I'm going to work hard on it. And if you haven't, definitely go check out the Gaslands video that we did, because it didn't get too many views, and God, I think it was probably one of the best videos I made in a while, like just in terms of like using authentic car sounds, and I made overlays and stuff, so it was a lot of fun. So if you haven't, go check it out, but I know a lot of you folks watch it, so I appreciate it. But yeah, we got some hobby related stuff, and of course our big Invasion America stuff. And once Invasion America does come out, we'll do the book, the campaign, from start to finish, and all the missions. So we'll see. It was a lot of fun. We'll definitely do some more Gaslands in the future, but we're gonna wait a little bit for sure. But all right, chat. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Jenny, thank you for hanging out. Wolf, of course, Squig Herder, thank you for the gift memberships again, dude. Very kind to you. We had Grunt in here. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in too. Brand new viewer here on Twitch. And Damn Legion and everyone, thank you so much for hanging out, chat. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. If you're playing any games, roll high on your dice as usual. And what do you call it? I'll see you guys probably some point for a stream during the week, early on next week. So don't worry, we'll probably, I don't know, maybe Monday or Tuesday we'll go live again and do some more hobby stuff. So, but all right, chat, you take it easy. You guys have an awesome night. Thank you so much for hanging out, and you guys have an awesome weekend. All right, chat. You